Alright, I'm super excited. One of my biggest gripes about this Porter cable table saw is the stock insert plate. The stock insert plate fits in there nice and snug. It levels up alright. I've got a few high spots here and there, but this darn thing is thin. See how thin that is? It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. It's flimsy. When you're running wood across it, this bows down just a little bit. So I'm excited to only have to use that for my angled cuts from now on. I've got two of these Leecraft HT-1 zero clearance table saw inserts. I'm not too fond of the color, but I don't care about the color. It doesn't make the cut any better or worse. This particular insert has 4 leveling screws, holes for leveling screws that are in the table. It's in there kind of snug. It's got a adjustment screw right here that you back out in order to get the proper snug fit. A lot of this is machined out along the edges, and then also right here for a dado blade, which is why I got two. I'm going to use one for dado, one for regular. You know, the craftsmanship, the quality of the piece, it's pretty good. So anyway, I've got this one in here, and I'm about to make my first saw curve. Oh, also, this table saw with the blade all the way down, the tip of the top tooth of the blade is very close to the surface. So I can't make my initial cut with the 10-inch blade. I'm going to run a circular saw blade until it barely pokes through the surface in a couple areas. Take that off and then put the original blade back on here for the blade I normally use for my cuts. But I'm going to go ahead and clamp this piece of wood down, front and back, and raise my blade and make a cut. Stuff sure does have a distinct smell to it. Alright, now I'm going to remove these clamps. I've got this sitting in there pretty snug, by the way. And unplug the saw, remove the blade, and install the blade that I plan on using with all my cuts. Alright, circular saw blade off, and here I'm just using the stock blade that came with the saw. A lot of people complain about it. A lot of people say it's not good enough for them, but for what I do, it does the job. I may benefit from putting a new saw blade on here, but I haven't found a need to. This one cuts quite fine for what I'm using, or for what I'm doing. Alright, lower the blade all the way. And let's see, I don't know if I'll fit this in here or not. The teeth are touching, so what I have to do is, let's see, the left-hand side should stay where it's at, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, right in the middle, I'm just going to nibble out just a little bit, not penetrating the top surface, but nibble out just a little bit with a chisel for the 1 or 2 teeth that are going to touch when I start it up. The cut was started with my circular saw blade, and I've put a 10-inch blade back in there. However, the lowest depth of this Porter cable saw still has the teeth touching this zero clearance insert. I've actually got just a tad bit of tear out on this melamine surface from where I tried to push this down, and that was actually in the way. I thought I had enough clearance, but my sawtooth was in the way. I just spun it up real quick in place, and it spun fine, so whatever was in the way has been removed by the blade. I don't know, this saw needs to drop down a whole lot more. At least 1/8 of an inch more. I don't think that's safe right there, not being able to put the blade all the way down. Problem with the table saw, not with the zero clearance insert. So I'm going to start this up and raise the blade all the way up. There it is, zero clearance. I've got to figure out a way to cut the rest of that back there for my riving knife. Now, let me show you what I got going on here. With my new zero insert cut and the blade raised all the way up, my blade starts here and ends here. However, I need my slot to end right where this tape is. The reason I need my slot to end right there is for my riving knife. To cut that slot, obviously my riving knife is removed. I've got my original insert sitting in there. And I've got the fence positioned to where my new zero clearance insert is straddling the blade, and then the fence locked down where it should be. What I'm going to do is lower the blade back down, slide my new insert. By the way, when this insert was in the table, I marked right here where my furthest cut was back. So I need to slide forward, let's go down some more, to where I want my cut to stop. I never locked the fence. Where I want my cut to stop versus where the blade will stop. So let me reposition this real quick. Saw blade up. Fence in place. Fence locked down. Saw blade down. Position it where it needs to be as far as the furthest depth cut. And then with this right here, I'm going to very carefully clamp this board down to hold my new insert in place. So let me get this clamped, let me get this cut, and we will check for accuracy with the riving knife installed. So my little taping off back here and lining, it worked like a charm. I've got my riving knife in place. I still go all the way up to a full 3 3/8 inch depth capacity. You know, this is nice and flat, and I like it. So anyway, that's how you put one of these in place. A much needed upgrade for this saw. I just wish it was in red. Red just says keep your hands off. Blue is a little bit more inviting. I don't think I'm gonna get close, but I like the look of red. So anyway, I'm gonna cut the dado blade the same way, except I'm not even gonna worry about it until I need to use the dado blade. So well deserved upgrade for this saw.